Welcome back to another video. Today we're here to talk about the stock market and what is going on recently. Very volatile market. And today especially we have one stock that you guys should be invested in right now. And if it drops more, get into it as fast as you can because this one is not going to be that low for long. So before we start the video, be sure to like it. If you enjoy this, it really appreciate it if you smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more content like this and you're enjoying it. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So if we check out the portfolio, we can see the last week we're down about 3%, which isn't all that bad considering what's going on in the market. I think the S&P in this past week is not doing any better, down around 4%. So that makes me feel good whenever I'm beating the S&P. Past month though, we're down almost 11%. But we could see yesterday we recovered a lot from the losses that we did have. Account was down almost 20%. Now we're only down 10%. But yeah, very volatile market. And we can see today's another red day. Yesterday was a huge green day. And then the 2 days before that were huge red days. What will tomorrow hold? I have no idea. But the stock I'm here to talk about today, Shopify. Ticker symbol SHOP. Shopify is one that I don't really have all that much in. I want to build my position a lot more as it drops right now. We can see that it was all the way down to $69. So stock did get very low. It's still very cheap relative to where it was before. It was even more than 109 actually. It was 130. So yeah, definitely dropped a very sizable amount, Shopify. But that's where we're here to see, can we invest in it? Can we make a lot of money for where it's at right now? Let's see. So what I wanted to check out is we can see, first of all, this company has dropped a lot. Okay, their 52-week low is $48. Their 52-week high is $130. That's a very big discrepancy. This is a $100 billion company. I think this is a $1 trillion company. I'm going to say it right now. I think that this company will have a market cap in the very high billions or probably trillions, pretty soon here. I mean, just over the next decade or so, I think that this company is going to, get to that point where it's in those kind of numbers, those kind of talks because of the way that they're growing. And yeah, that's what I wanted to check out. So we could see their investor presentation. Let's go through. This is February 11th, 2025. This is their investor deck, their investor slideshow. And let's see some of the high points of their quarter four earnings in 2024. So they had $8.9 billion in revenue. Amazing. You can see they're up 26% year over year, $1.1 trillion in global commerce since Shopify's inception. Amazing. 875 million plus unique online shoppers, millions of merchants, and they have more than 12% of the US e-commerce market share and expect farther penetration. That's beautiful. Shopify is by far the leading, e-commerce giant. We can see this is, why I invest in them. This is what they do. They help accelerate the power of entrepreneurship and merchant access. They're a leading platform for entrepreneurship and increasingly of all commerce. As our merchants do better, Shopify does better. That's very true. So what Shopify does is you can build websites through Shopify. They offer a lot of different things. I mean, this is just a few of them right here. They have apps, marketing and analytics, cross-border shipping, back office, order management. But this is really what they do is, a lot of people use them for websites. I use Shopify for one of my websites. I really like the company. I like what they're doing. They make it very easy to create websites, to use them. They make it's very simple. And it's not that expensive either, but there's so many people that use them that it's starting to gain a lot of traction. And you can see they've evolved into a unified operating system for commerce anywhere, anytime. So we can see, a couple of the things they've done over the past quarter. And we can also see that there's a lot of brands that use Shopify these are not small brands by any means. We have Nike Strength, we have Heinz, one of the big, Heinz ketchup, barbecue sauce, ranch. We have Reebok, Gymshark's a huge one. Mr. Beast uses Shopify. If you're watching this on YouTube, you probably know who Mr. Beast is. Steve Madden. Maybe you bought your girlfriend a purse from Steve Madden. You might have bought her some Skim socks and maybe a Fashion Nova, dress or something like that. Dollar Shave Club, GameStop. So these are a lot of really big companies that use Shopify. And they have merchant first focus through product innovation. So this is kind of the ladder that Shopify is climbing right now and where they're at in their company, because this is what they were doing in the beginning, and then they're kind of just going up and up, and they just started using AI. Now they're trying to create a Shopify ecosystem where it's all Shopify. I like that a lot. They're adding more features. That's all great, but let's get into the numbers pretty soon here. So we can see the entrepreneur. We can see that usually, or the starter is $5 per month. Basic is $39. Retail is $89. 105 advanced. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different packages you can get with Shopify. They're offered to, a small business can use them, and then even a conglomerate, like, as we saw up there, Gymshark, Nike, Steve Madden, companies like that. And then they have a lot of great partners. These are other stocks that are great to invest in as well: Google, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, Snapchat, Pinterest, TikTok, Twitter, X, Target, Spotify. There's a lot of big companies. They're product partners, a lot of the biggest credit card, brands, things like that, a lot of banking, technology. This is what I wanted to get into. So their revenue gets stronger over time. This is very true. We can see that, year over year, their revenue is, going insane. I mean, you can see it exploded last quarter, but they have a 12% growth rate in their CAGR, compounding annual growth rate of 12% in their revenue. That's very good. And this pattern persists across all their cohorts. That's also true. We can see it looks very great. They're also getting more global, more accessible. This is all, I don't know. I'm not that interested in all of these. I just want to see the numbers, but we can see this is how they're, creating and expanding their total market. Their commerce components are, their biggest thing. But we could see how much they've grown just over since 2015. That's not even, what is that? It's 10 years ago exactly. And we can see that just in 8 years, from 2015 to 2023, they had 46 billion. In 5 years, they tripled that. And then they gave them 3 years, and, they went from 153 to 849 billion. That's more than a triple. That's almost, that's about a 5 times. Even it's a little bit more, but it's more than 5 times what they had in 2020. And they did that in 3 years. So if they can do that again at this scale, which I don't think is impossible, if they, in the next 3 years, 5x that $849 billion. I mean, the opportunities are endless with Shopify. And only 2% penetration of our opportunity in the geographies that we currently serve. Yeah, we can see their global revenue is 849 billion, and it's only 1% penetrated. This is going to grow over time. And that number is just going to go up. And then, you can see, like, when companies sell more with Shopify also becomes more successful because of the tax they take on the companies that do sell things through their websites. They get a little bit of that. And then you can see their year-over-year growth is, I mean, they had 100% this year, but it's around the 20% mark. I think that's a fair estimate to give it growing around 20% a year, which is, you can't really find that in any other company, 20% a year, especially with the stock price of this, that, $84 right now. No company is growing 20% year over year has an $80 stock consistently and safely. And their monthly recurring revenue continues to grow, 27% 5-year compounded annual growth rate. A 27% compounded annual growth rate is insane. To be compounding your annual growth at 27%. Let's just put that into perspective. So that's a 5-year compounded annual growth rate. If we look up a stock calculator and we check out this investment calculator, let's say you started with we'll just say $100,000, and you have that 5-year compounded annual growth rate of 27%. And, we won't, I don't know, what do you think? Add $1,000 a month just because. And then, look at how fast that grows. That 100,000 turns into 447,000. And Shopify is playing with a lot more than 100,000. So they're, theoretically 5xing their money almost. Wow. In that short amount of time. So that's very good to see. And their business model, Shopify has one of the best business models in the world. Not in the US, not in, wherever they're based out of in the world. Shopify's business model is one where they don't really have much. They're not really liable for a lot. They're just providing a service. They're providing something that people can use on their own, but they created this ecosystem, or they're starting to right now. That's the next big sector of their business, is the ecosystem they're creating. And a lot's going to be done with that ecosystem. I'm very happy to see that because I mean, there's a lot of brands that have those ecosystems, such as Microsoft. They have Xbox, they have Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. That one's kind of phased out, but then there's Google, and then there's Amazon, which has all the Amazon Prime Video, Amazon shopping. And then there's the big one, Apple, who has Apple Pay, Apple Music. These are these ecosystems that, I mean, a lot of successful companies have these ecosystems that are used by a lot of people. So I'm very happy to see Shopify entering that space of the ecosystem space. And we can see 6 consecutive quarters of GMV growth above 20%. That's good to see. 7 consecutive quarters of 25% or greater revenue growth. Hell yeah. 6 consecutive quarters of double-digit free cash flow margin, and then 9 consecutive quarters of positive free cash flow. So 9 consecutive quarters, kind of, all these quarter numbers are kind of like post-COVID. It was very hard when the Rona was going around. That was definitely a brick in Shopify's kind of business model. Obviously, there's a lot less spending happening, and that is where Shopify thrives in those environments. And I would say now is a perfect time to get into Shopify because of the low spending, the high inflation. I mean, I don't think it's going to stay that way forever. And if you do, then you're probably not buying any stocks if you think the inflation is going to stay like this forever. But I'm buying stocks in preparation for when it does drop. If that's 5 years, if that's 20 years, if that's 1 year, I don't care. I'm just buying stocks, for whenever that does happen, because when it does, I will be very prepared. I mean, it's just a lot of increasing revenue. And we can see their business sectors right here. Their increasing revenue is really coming from Standard, which is, their website building tool, but we can see, or their most popular one. And their profitability is, their operating margin, it's increasing. It's at 17%. It's at the highest it's ever been. And their gross profit margin, we can see these are high. These are getting higher. Their margins are getting better, and their revenues are growing, which are two things that are very good. And their operating expenses are going down very consistently. I mean, these are very consistent things. We can see that it dropped a little bit here at the beginning of 2024 in both of these, but they're consistently coming back up. And I mean, last quarter, in a big way too. I mean, we can see that these things are dropping quick. I mean, everything that you want to rise, the margins are rising, the operating expenses are dropping. So expenses dropping, margins rising. I mean, those are kind of counteracted. They both create great paths to profitability for this company. Double-digit free cash flow. So their quarter 1 outlook for here, they're gonna grow their revenue at mid-20s percentage. Amazing, mid-20s revenue growth, not low 20s, mid. Gross profit at low 20s. Okay, that's beautiful. And then we can see their operating expenses will be between 41 to 42% of the revenue, so they have a 60% profit margin. And their stock-based compensation to be approximately 120 million. They do have a lot of stock-based compensation, I will say, which is the only thing. I mean, I love this business. That's the only thing where I kind of feel a certain way about it. But I do think that their stock-based compensation is great. Kind of motivation for the workers, for people, the employees of Shopify. I think that that's a good thing. And then their free cash flow margin will be in the mid-teens, also great. And they have multiple drivers of growth. We see all of these. These are kind of just their sectors of business that are really helping them grow year over year. We can see the companies that are doing really good with this are Skims and Beams. I haven't heard of Beams. I've heard of Skims, Kim Kardashian's brand. I know I've heard of that being a very good, very, very popular brand among the female audience. And then at a glance, $588 million offline revenue. That's very good. They're expanding into different sectors. And we can see North America had 70% of their revenue in 2024, and international was 30%. Both up year over year by a great amount. And yeah, I mean, they're expanding internationally. They already have great things going on in the US, international, getting expanded. That's what a lot of companies are trying to do. And yeah, I think I agree with this statement right here. We're just getting started. This company truly is just getting started. They went public only in 2015, where they went public for $2.80 a share. 2021, when people were all inside, they grew a lot. They got to $150 a share. Then they dropped a lot, $26. And this is the beginning of a company this company hasn't been public for 10 years yet. So I think we're going to look back in time at it. I mean, let's check out a company that is in the online space, and they are the seller of goods. But let's see, look at their first 10 years from 2000 to 2010. They started at $3 and then they dropped, almost a third of their price. And they just kind of stuck around that, and then 2010, then they started gaining some momentum, but you can't even tell. I mean, it looks like it was the same price for 10 years because of how big the movements are recently in Amazon. I think Shopify is going to be the same thing. I think we're not even going to be able to see these movements in the graph. 10, 20 years from now, these are kind of just going to be a straight line between the 152 and the $3 starting price, or the $4, $14. I think these are kind of going to be just a straight line, and the Shopify price is going to be a lot greater. So I'm definitely feeling good about that. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of their balance sheet, but we already went over everything regarding Shopify. So yeah, I mean, I think that this is a great investment. Excuse me. If you want to get into options for this one, I don't hate it. They are pretty not that expensive, actually. I kind of thought they'd be a little bit more, but I guess they dropped a little bit today. But I mean, we can see like this one has a delta of 7D, pretty low volume, but I mean, these are very far out. But yeah, I mean, not horribly priced options. I think these are relatively cheap for what Shopify can do. But yeah, I mean, that's all I have for today's video, guys. I hope you do invest in Shopify. I'm definitely adding more into that company right now. Even just going over right now with you guys, I see a lot more of why that company has so much potential and why it's going to be an amazing company. Already is, but going to be even better. So I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Be sure to like this video and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Thank you again. See you in the next one. Peace.